The Young and the Restless Spoilers Thursday, November 14th reveal that Sharon Newman begins her dark night with a haunting wake-up call that plunges her into a nightmare she has never experienced. She feels exhausted, but can't explain why she can't remember what happened before. Did Sharon just escape a terrible accident, or did she just wake up from a terrible nightmare? As she tries to remember, Sharon suddenly realizes that she is in the familiar wooden house, the peaceful place she often goes to calm down. But this time, there is no sense of peace here. She searches everywhere and finds her missing phone, only to discover a series of text messages sent to Phyllis Summers, with vague and incoherent content. Sharon has no memory of sending any of those messages. She sits there, feeling like the gaps in her memory are like a thick curtain, hiding something horrifying. Meanwhile, on the dark road that Sharon had just left behind, a terrible collision occurred. Phyllis Summers lay motionless behind the wheel, surrounded by the wreckage of the car. It was all like a terrible picture that Sharon had accidentally witnessed before running away. Why did Sharon do that? Did she really leave the scene without calling for Phyllis' rescue? Or was it some vague fear that made her unconscious, leaving without realizing what she was doing? Summer Newman, Phyllis' daughter, suddenly received a suspicious call in the middle of Abby and Devin Hamilton's wedding reception. A feeling of unease enveloped Summer as she heard the cryptic words on the other end of the line. Although she was attending a happy event, Summer could not hide her worry when thinking about her mother. This concern was quickly shared with Nick Newman, Summer's father, whom she always trusted. Nick decides to leave the wedding to find Phyllis and find out what really happened. Also at the wedding, Abby and Devin are immersed in the happiness of their big day. Unbeknownst to them, while they are celebrating a new beginning, Phyllis and Sharon's dark past is unfolding, creating a terrifying contrast between joy and horror. On the way, Nick discovers a shocking scene. Phyllis's car is smashed to pieces on the side of the road. He immediately rushes over, opens the car door to check on Phyllis. Although she is still breathing, she is clearly unconscious with serious injuries. Without hesitation, Nick calls an ambulance, trying to stay calm so as not to make the situation worse. Despite Phyllis' critical condition, he tells himself that at least she is still alive and will soon receive the necessary medical attention. Back at Sharon, she is confused as she looks at her phone, trying to piece together her scattered memories. Text messages to Phyllis that she doesn't remember make her anxious and wonder what she really did. Guilt and fear take over as she recalls blurry images of the crash. Sharon can't figure out if she caused Phyllis's accident, or if someone else deliberately set things up to blame her. Her mind is a jumble of confusion, unable to distinguish between reality and fantasy. As the investigation continues, Sharon becomes the focus of suspicion. Phyllis' children, Summer and Daniel, cannot sit idly by as their mother suffers horribly. Summer gradually loses trust in Sharon, while Nick's suspicions about Sharon's role in the accident also begin to surface. He has always loved Sharon, but he cannot ignore the clear signs that she is involved. This accident not only puts Phyllis in a critical condition, but also stirs up the simmering conflicts in the community. Everyone falls into chaos, close relationships gradually crack, when people do not know who they can trust. Sharon must face her own terrible nightmares and find a way to clear up her own patchy memories. Can she prove her innocence, or will she forever be immersed in the darkness of suspicion and blame? Everyone's lives will never be the same again, because this accident has left an indelible mark on everyone's heart. And the biggest question remains, who is really behind it all? Billy Abbott is having a tough time convincing his mother, Jill Abbott, not to sell Abbott Chancellor to what he sees as his arch-rival, Victor Newman. For Billy, Abbott Chancellor is more than just a company, it's a family legacy, a vital part of the life he and Jill have nurtured and developed. But this time, it seems that nothing Billy says can sway his mother's stubborn resolve. Jill, with a determined look in her eyes, reiterated to Billy that she believed this was the right decision, a new direction for the company to grow in the future. She thought that selling Abbott Chancellor to Victor would give the company more opportunities to grow, despite the fact that it might hurt Billy. Despite Billy's efforts to dissuade her, Jill stood her ground. She believed that Billy needed to learn to accept reality and gradually let go of the past, instead of being immersed in grudges and hatred from the past. But Billy could not move on when the feeling of betrayal still burned in his heart. The memories of his family, the years of dedication to the company, seemed to have been washed away by Jill's cold decision. For Billy, this was like losing a part of his life, a part of his legacy that he never wanted to be taken away, especially by Victor's hands. Not long after, Billy exploded with rage at Victoria Newman, Victor's daughter. To him, Victoria was someone he had loved deeply and trusted. But now, seeing her on Victor's side made Billy unable to control his anger. Billy blamed Victoria for not stopping Victor, for letting her father interfere in his life and take away what he cherished most. Billy's anger became intense, as if he had nothing left to lose, not afraid to express his negative emotions in front of his former lover. Victoria listened to Billy's heart-wrenching confession, but she remained silent. She understood clearly that no matter how much Billy complained or blamed, it would not change the fact that the deal between Jill and Victor had been signed. The Abbott Chancellor Company no longer belonged to Billy. Victoria's silence was like an invisible knife, carving deep into Billy's wounded heart. He feels like a child who has lost his favorite toy, helpless and full of hatred. Billy is finally forced to face the reality that his anger and hatred cannot change his mother's decision or the truth about Victor's company. His mixed emotions, from dissatisfaction, pain to betrayal, all blend into one emptiness, leaving Billy with a sense of failure he has never experienced before. The story of Billy, Jill and Victor is like a never-ending drama about power, family, and deep inner conflicts. Can Billy learn to accept and let go, or will he continue to be drawn into the spiral of hatred and revenge? Time will tell, but for now, all Billy feels is the bitterness of a battle he lost from the start. This makes Billy fall into a state of rage. He couldn't contain his anger when he saw Victoria and Victor taking away a part of his life. He felt like he was robbed of his favorite toy, which he had grown up with, a symbol of pride and personal identity. In a fit of rage, Billy directly blamed Victoria for her insensitivity, criticizing her for letting Victor stick his nose into his life and take away what he cherished most. Victoria just silently listened to Billy's complaints, letting him vent his anger. Her silence only made Billy angrier. He realized that Victoria would not stand by him, that she still kept a certain distance between her personal feelings and family responsibilities. To her, Victor's decision was part of a power play, something that could not be avoided. This harsh reality made Billy feel abandoned, as if no one in this life was truly on his side. In the end, Billy was left with the reality that he had lost the war. He could not change his mother's decision or the fact that Abbott Chancellor now belonged to Victor. The feeling of failure and bitterness gradually took over his mind, filling him with despair. Not only did he fail in business, but he also lost faith in his family, in love, and in himself. Billy felt empty, with nothing to hold on to. However, a part of Billy still could not let go. He felt hatred, a hatred for Victor that grew stronger. He promised himself that this would not be the end, that he would find a way to take back what was his. The decision to sell Abbott Chancellor was just the beginning of a new war, and Billy would not stop fighting until he won justice and recognition. As time passed, Billy gradually regained his will and determination. He plans his revenge on Victor, even starting to recruit new allies who share Victor's enemies. He won't stop until he sees Victor get what he deserves. Subscribe to Yonder to stay up to date with the latest news on our channel.